So we're going to start by reviewing because we're going to be building on top of what we learned before. So on your paper, for number one, what we're going to do is we're going to draw the shell model, okay, for nitrogen. Okay, so we're going to draw the shell model for nitrogen. I want you guys to write that down. This is the first problem we're going to do. Alright, so we learned about shell models last time, and so we're going to be reviewing that because we're building on top of it today. So for the shell model, the first rule, if you guys remember, is that the number of shells that an element has is equal to the row that it is in. Okay, so the number of shells an element has depends on the row on the periodic table that it is in. Alright, so let's take a look at nitrogen. Nitrogen is right over here. If you guys look on your periodic table, it's number 7. And if you look, it is on the second row, right? It's on row number 2. And so that means for your shell model, we're going to write N. And we're going to draw 2 circles around it. It has 2 shells. Okay, so the number of shells is equal to the row. Alright, next thing we want to do is we want to draw the electrons, and that's very simple. If you guys want to write it down, the electrons in each shell is dependent on the boxes. So we're going to count boxes, and that's going to tell you how many electrons are in each shell of the element. Alright guys, so let's count the boxes, and that way we can find out the electrons in the shells. So if you look at the first row, remember the first row is the first shell. There are 2 boxes in the first row, so that means there's going to be 2 electrons in that first shell. Okay, the first row has 2 boxes, so it has 2 electrons in the first shell. Okay. Now for the second row, we just need to count until we get to the element we're interested in, so nitrogen. So we're going to count the boxes. It's box number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to have 5 in the second shell. Okay, so we're going to have 5 electrons in the second shell. Okay, so the first shell is going to have 2, and the second shell is going to have 5. I'm writing it here just so that you guys can see it, and that's going to be pretty much how we draw a shell model. It's pretty simple. You just count boxes and count rows. Okay, if you guys want to check your work, take a look at nitrogen. You see the number on top is 7. 2 plus 5 should equal 7. And that's how you can always tell if you did your work correctly. So this is how you draw shell models. But today we're going to learn how to draw a different type of picture for the elements. And I'll do it in blue so you guys know. But today we're going to learn about a picture called the Lewis structure. So write that down. This is a new thing. We're going to learn how to draw something called a Lewis structure. And the Lewis structure is very simple. It's actually an easier picture to draw because you're going to draw only something called the valence electrons. We'll talk about that in a second, but you're only going to draw something called the valence electrons. Okay, so jot that down just so you have your instructions on how to draw the Lewis structure. And I'll talk about what valence means in a second. So valence electrons are electrons that are on the outside shell. So if you take a look at our shell model for nitrogen, right? You see how there's 2 shells, right? This outside shell right here is called the valence shell. Okay? This outside shell, this is what the valence shell is. And so valence electrons are electrons in the outside shell. So if you look at nitrogen, it's going to have 5 valence electrons. It's just however many are in the outside shell. Okay? That's what valence is. It's just how many are in the outside shell. Okay, so if we're going to draw the Lewis structure, it's very, very simple. All we have to do is we're going to write the element symbol. There are 5 valence electrons, so we just draw 5 dots around it. And that's it. This is our Lewis structure. Okay, no shells, no circles. We don't have to draw both shells. We just draw dots corresponding to the valence electrons. And again, it's very easy to find valence electrons. You just count the boxes in the same row the element is in. Nitrogen is in row 2, box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so it has 5 valence electrons. Okay, so we're going to draw the Lewis structure for chlorine, and again, it's very simple. Just count the boxes until we get to that element. So chlorine is right over here, so we count the boxes left to right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So chlorine is going to have 7 dots around it, and that's how you draw the Lewis structure. 7 valence electrons. Okay, now the reason why it's okay only to draw the outside ones is because once the elements start combining, the valence ones are the ones that do the interesting things. They're the ones that move, and they can leave the atom and whatnot. The inside electrons, they just kind of sit there. So it's okay just to draw these because these are the interesting ones anyway. Okay. All right, any questions on Lewis structures? Do you guys think you could try some on your own? Hopefully. Okay, well, too bad. All right, so you're going to draw the Lewis structure for BA. BA is down here, so see if you could draw the Lewis structure for that. And let's do HE. Okay, so BA and HE. So take about a minute, see if you could draw the Lewis structures for BA and HE, and then we'll move on to one last thing, and we'll be done. Okay, so let's go over BA and HE. So BA is down here. So very simple. Just count the boxes. It's box number 1, 2. So BA is going to have 2 valence electrons. Okay. Any questions on that one? Hopefully not too bad. And then for HE, we just count the boxes again. 1, 2. So this also has 2 valence electrons. Okay, so those are the Lewis structures. All right, any questions on those two? Okay, let's add one last component to this, and then we'll do two more practice, and then we'll be all done. So there is something I do want to mention. So we do count the boxes left to right, but there's something important about this section right here. So on your periodic table, I want you to make this note. This middle section right here, all the elements from groups 3 through 12. Okay, we are going to skip these for Lewis structure. So we don't count the boxes in this section when we are drawing the Lewis structures. Okay, we're not going to go into why. You'll just kind of have to trust me. If you really want to know, you can take AP Chem with me next year. We go super into detail about it. But for now, just know you don't count these boxes. So this section right here, everyone in groups 3 through 12, we are going to skip when we draw the Lewis structures. All right, so with that being said, let's do 2 final ones together. So for number 5, we'll do BR, okay? BR is right over here, number 35. And so we're going to count the boxes, but again, just skip that middle section. So we're going to count 1, 2, skip this middle section, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So BR is going to have 7 valence electrons. Okay, so again, same thing. Just the only thing we need to remember is skip this middle section. I'm not going to ask you to draw the Lewis structure for anything in the middle right here, so don't worry about that. Just know you skip these ones when we're counting for Lewis structures. Okay. All right, I'll have you guys try one last one on your own. I want you to draw the Lewis structure for xenon, Xe. I'll give you guys 30 seconds to do that. We'll go over it, and then we'll finish up. So Xe, same thing. It's right here, number 54. Box 1, 2, skip 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you should have 8 dots around Xe. Okay, so 8 valence electrons. Okay, and that's it. Any questions?